So I started off, and again, you know, this time getting the title was not difficult because it was very clear we wanted household waste to be recycled at the doorstep. And so we you know, were able to get ahead and do that, get the cooperation with the clerks, get the bill drafted, and set on our way. Then what happened was, having made the case, which was not difficult to make, because the major thing that was happening at that time was people were taking their recycling materials to supermarkets, who just started to provide, you know, big bins to collect various different things. But, you know, as I pointed out in my second reading speech, 28% of people didn't own a car. You know, there were a lot of people who could not, I mean, you know, they'd go on the bus or they'd walk, or they could even take a taxi to the supermarket, or at least they'd take a taxi back when they had their shopping. But they were not in their own cars, so they were not going to transport their waste from their home to the supermarket. And the other argument was local authorities have a duty in law, which had been there for a very long time, to collect waste from the nearest point to the householder's front door. So that in addition to that duty, and which obviously worked for people with individual homes, whether detached or terraced or whatever they were, but of course also with the development of so many estates with blocks of flats, the provision had been made by most local authorities for very large containers to which people again could take their waste. So it was quite clear to me you could have collection from the doorstep and you could have collection from recycled large waste bins if you were dealing with blocks of flats and communal facilities. So we set out to make the case. Lots and lots of support in the Commons from all sides of the House. You know, recycling was thought to be quite cool, as it was, and that all went quite well initially. But then, of course, as inevitably arises with many governments, there's the question of who pays. And that became the sticking point. Yeah. That became the sticking point. Because I think already by that time, the Labour government had made a promise to local government. Again, you may know this. I think they had made a promise not to impose new powers on them. The deal was if central government was going to impose new duties on local authorities, then they would have to compensate them financially. And that was the deal that local government had wrought with the government, that they, you know, because at that time there was a lot of environmental legislation, a lot of things happening. They were complaining, we don't have the resources. And then people said, well, we'll have to get, you know, new waste lorries, we'll have to get new bins, we'll have to get... And you know, once you got into the practicalities of it, you could see that this was quite an issue. It wasn't, you know, it was much bigger than my local co-op taking my bags away.